Hunter he brought last week, and he brought Control Warrior last week, but obviously he lost 3 games with it, so he's now switched that out for Druid.
If he does bring Freeze Mage, and that is exactly the same lineup that Cipher's got, then Freeze Mage I wouldn't even mind queuing up first, because it has a pretty good chance into every single one of those opposing decks. The only issue is if Cipher is switched up to a Control Warrior, and then he queues that up into Freeze Mage.
I mean, my only problem with... If he has brought Freeze Mage, would you ban Shaman? Because Freeze Mage is alright against Shaman, right?
It's alright against all of those decks that we listed, though, to be fair, and you just take out the one that's maybe more likely to consistently apply threats just through having totems on board. So,
yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to be jumping straight into this series. So, as I forgot to in the first match, I'm going to ask you guys for predictions moving into the series. Who do you think is going to be able to take this one? Is it going to be Cipher or is it going to be Mysterious?
I think Mysterious will really want this one. I think both players really want it, but I'm going to go for Mysterious. I'm going to go 3-2, the standard 3-2.
Do you know what? I know we always say we undervalue Mysterious, etc., but I genuinely think Cipher will win this 3-1.
All right, well, I'm actually going to go with Mysterious as well, because I do think the guy... I think this means so much to him at this point. He knows that just winning this game and relying on one of the 3 players that was 2-3 this week, if any of them lose another match this season, he's qualified at that point. So I think if he can just win this one, he's fine. So I think he'll really be kind of pushing for it. But then again, you know, everyone's going to be pushing for it. But that's what I'm going to base my prediction on.
I think this is the first week you haven't voted for Cipher. In a
Cipher
matchup.
That's because I always vote for Mysterious on Cipher. But I don't know. I do think Mysterious... the meta is kind of shifting towards these heavy control decks, and that's Mysterious' style in a nutshell, I think.
It's Cipher's style in a nutshell.
I know.
It's both of them. So
I realised it when I was saying it, but, you know.
It's interesting that Mysterious has kind of got rid of that control warlock that he so famously plays, the Reno lock. He had that one bad week with it, and ever since he's not gone back. He's decided, no, don't want to do it anymore.
I think Hella Leroy summed up Reno lock quite succinctly when he said it's a coin flip. Like, if you draw Reno, you win. If you don't draw Reno, you don't win.
That is true. I mean, that is how Reno can so often work, but I mean, it's a good coin flip to have.
Yeah, for sure. You know, you've got a 1 in 30 chance of just drawing something that can, in a lot of matchups, just win you the game.
Well, it's going to be Mysterious on the Hunter to kick things off up against Cipher's horrendous starting hand as he is going to be playing on this, we'd assume, Ramp Druid. Could be a Malagos Druid, though, considering the Raven Idol.
Yes, potentially.
Well, we'll know. If he picks Moonfire, it's probably Malagos Druid. Claw is definitely a way of dealing with early threats of a Hunter, though, so there's definitely reason to taking that. I don't like Naturalize, although Naturalize is good clear on big minions, I don't think it's necessary here.
Drawing Hunter more cards for a class that sometimes struggles at drawing cards is probably never a good thing.
So last week Cipher actually brought Beast Druid.
Well, they went for the Moonfire,
so that would... you'd think so, yeah. I mean, I know maybe that 0 mana, 1 damage could come into play even if you aren't Malagos, but it would suggest that you're probably Malagos.
Love the coin cat trick here, because if there is a wild growth for the Hunter, and I think actually the fact that he coined out a secret against Hunter, I'm sure Cipher probably has a pretty solid idea that that's likely going to be cat trick, because the only thing you'd ever coin a secret out for on turn 2 is the turn 2 wild growth of the Druids.
And there was the instant emote as well from Cipher, and I think it was Hello Leroy last week who said, I really should just mute Cipher. I just shouldn't watch his emotes because it fully tilts him.
I was talking to Hello Leroy after his match last week, and he was saying Cipher, he's this player, it feels like he's Hello Leroy's Achilles heel. But a lot of that is down to just kind of psychological warfare.
It definitely is.
It's just like it tilts him so hard, and he's like he can't just mute him. He can't just allow it. He feels like he has to beat it.
I mean, the thing is, even if you silence someone, even if you mute them, you can still see them hover over their character, and sometimes that can trigger you even more because you don't know what they're emoting, and you're just thinking, oh, they're doing something really frustrating. But speaking of frustrating, this is an ever so clunky hand for Cipher. Very little to work with. Still hasn't played anything on the board, and it's gonna be turn 4.
Interesting that he decides to activate the Kindly Grandmother himself.
Well, I think potentially setting up to go for a very early swipe here, or also has the Moonfire and Hero Power for next turn, so...
He's got double swipe in classic Cipher style. double swiping the top 10 cards of the deck.
He does tend to do that a
He
lot,
does tend to
actually.
do that a lot,
I was trying to think back, like, does he do that? I was like, yeah, I think he did that last week.
That is going to be one Big Bad Wolf dealt with, but at the same time, also procs a cat trick and activates the other Big Bad Wolf. So, swings and roundabouts potentially not worth it in the end. And another cat trick
What a
appears.
secret! What a secret to pull off the top from Mysterious.
Oh dear. As well as you could even drop cat trick snipe this turn, and just basically say you are never dropping anything to contest this board.
Well, one of the reasons people, especially in the Premiership, people started bringing these more aggressive decks was because of how popular Malygos Druid was and how slow it can be. Beast Druid was working really well against it. We saw people bringing Face Hunter to try and counter it. I don't think this is the Face Hunter variant. It might be with the Explosive Trap, but it's definitely, I mean, the Secret Hunter in general is sheer aggression. If you can get those secrets out early, and I think Double Cat Trick is extremely punishing against a Druid.
If you're gonna use swipe here and you're gonna use Moonfire, you use Moonfire first, right? Because you do an extra 1 damage to cat trick, which could become relevant.
Yes. That's exactly what you would do. But I mean, you're removing but still leaving stuff on board, and you're not responding at all. You're not putting anything in the way.
You can't respond. You have nothing to respond with if you use Nourish.
I mean, you could Mire Keeper and get the 2/2 as well. At least then you've got a way of trading in next turn. I do like this. Is he gonna? Yeah, gains the mana from it. So basically says next turn I can play either Malygos or I can play Ancient of War as well.
Ragnaros?
Yeah.
Ragnaros.
Ragnaros or Ragnaros.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ancient of War seems pretty good as well. They have to trade a lot into it.
I mean, you're sub 10 HP next turn for Cipher.
Who needs HP?
I mean, if Animal Companion pulls off Leok, you're even lower. Or even Huffer, you're even lower.
Always Huffer.
Always Huffer.
And with a steady shot going in as well. That's an awful lot of damage being plowed into Cipher's face. 5 HP remaining. Quick shot in hand. This is all but over at this stage. Ancient of War.
Yeah, it's dead.
It's going to get sniped
well.
and will get finished off. That is going to be, again, going the way of Mysterious. What a way to start off this series. Cipher goes 1-0 down. Mysterious taking advantage and doing it in commanding style with that Hunter.
Yep, and when that Hunter does go out of control, it's just hard to come back from. I mean, the opening hand from Cipher said it all. I mean, just having the Ancient War of Ragnaros, 2 of your higher end of cards, it's going to be a very
And you had like no early ramp, but then the early ramp was already set up for by that coin cat trick play from Mysterious. I mean, Mysterious had the cards to essentially put Hunter under his, put Druid under his thumb and say you can make 0 moves, you'll never get back onto board, your clear, which is weak anyway, is always going to get answered. So yeah, there was just Mysterious had the cards, played them well, and unfortunately Cipher just had no answers.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic start there coming up for Mysterious. Just basically floors the Druid from Cipher. And you know, we mentioned how Cipher, as always, had to swipe in his top 10 cards, but just wasn't enough. And that's a common issue with Druid, is swipe always sometimes feels lackluster. Always sometimes. What a great phrase there. Sometimes feels lackluster when you have to clear an entire board.
One of the Druid's advantages is obviously they are one of the only classes in the game that can ramp, you know, but they are one of the classes in the game that has the worst board clear as well. So, you know, like you said earlier, swings and roundabouts.
So it's not the Freeze Mage for Mysterious this time. It does look like more of a tempo mage. And we saw Harrison Jones in the hand of Cipher. That is definitely not going to play a part in this matchup. Except just being the 5/4 body, of course.
Cipher switches over to the Warrior here as well.
Yeah, and by the looks of the bashers in hand, it's going to be some variant of Control Warrior. We'll see which one it is. I wouldn't be too surprised to see yet another Cthulhu.
And a Control Warrior can really struggle against Tempo Mage. It can really struggle against Hunter as well. Anything that can get a lot of pressure early, and if there's not the removal, it certainly can get out of control.
I'd be tempted to just bash this.
Yeah. General life motto.
Alright, Dan.
Dan's feeling aggressive tonight.
Oh goodness, this is just a ping turn for the Tempo Mage. That's never good, or doesn't feel great anyway.
Especially considering the name of your deck is Tempo, and you have to just hero power and pass.
To be honest though, Cipher's not exactly throwing down anything of particular note either.
No.
And against the fact that you probably consider this is Tempo Mage now, you'd probably be reluctant to just play Ravaging Ghoul as a flat minion, because there's so many answers that Tempo Mage can have.
He's going to opt for that regardless here. We know for a fact there are Arcane Blasts and Hero Powers available.
But he could be thinking about coining out the Azure Drake.
Well, you're not wrong, Keenan. That is exactly what he's going to go for in this turn. Gets himself a little bit of cycle, gets that spell power on board, and basically begs an answer from Cipher.
This is a variant of Tempo Mage that's probably going to have... Oh, wow. He can slam and then use Fiery War Axe afterwards. This is a variant of Tempo Mage, by the way, that will have a slightly better win rate versus control just through the inclusion of Kabbalist Tome. It's just infinite value in control matchups. Oh my word, he's holding his cards close to his chest, making sure that Shield Slam can be important too.
Not the greatest of draws for Mysterious at the moment, and a lot of answers on the hand of Cipher as well. Definitely swaying towards him for a win here already. But Tempo Mage can sometimes, if he can get that one turn to just clear board and put a lot of presence there, and well, Emperor is going to help a lot.
This is Freeze Mage, mate. The first he's got in hand right now.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Thorazane going to be there as well. But has the ability now to start to clear things. Or obviously next turn should be Emperor, really, considering the amount of spells he's got in hand. After one turn of Emperor, though, think how many free spells he's going to have. If he gets a Flame Waker, the following turn, think about Flame Waker next turn with 2 Arcane Blasts, Arcane Missiles, and Mirror Images.
Goodness gracious, and a Sorcerer's
And a
Apprentice.
Sorceress to even make Fireballs cheaper as well. Like,
Blimey is the word, I think.
I think Blimey is the correct word.
Blimey O'Reilly.
You slam Emperor Therissian because you right. Because you don't have to use...
That was a great sentence.
You don't have to use Shield Slam. So, slam and you've got a trade with your 3-2. You could obviously try and keep your 3-2 and 5-4 on board, but having just seen Emperor Therissian go down, you're probably worried about how much value this is going to get anyway.
I mean, you could even slam and use your Fiery War Axe if you wanted to.
Yeah, you could, for sure.
Which actually I quite like. I think you're happy to take that damage right now, but Cipher disagrees, and he says he is going to value one of his Shield Slams here.
Well, I mean, one thing to bear in mind as well is Mysterious actually has to get that Flame Waker before he can get the insane value out this turn.
He's probably going to go
Fiery
face.
War Axe.
Yeah.
Cypher's done with this match.
Wow. Okay, no, he's not.
Doesn't decide to go for it, though. But still, this is very clearable, especially with Sorcerer's Apprentice going down. You've got Frostbolt into Arcane Missiles if you want, even Violence Portal available. Lots of different ways to deal with this board.
Druid of the Claw, naked Druid of the Claw, so worst of both worlds.
Well, he's still wearing armor.
Okay, sure.
Do you Arcane Blast this as well?
Yeah, I would also think. Ooh, that's an interesting one to use the mirror image there.
Protects your Sorcerer's Apprentice.
Yeah, no, I agree. In that respect, for sure.
It plays into Brawl, I guess.
Yeah. That was my only thinking, but obviously playing into Brawl with just this on board, you'd probably be happy if this was Brawled, so you're probably fine.
I think the important thing for Mysterious is just keeping Cipher's board as empty as possible, just so that he can get one of his disgusting tempo swing turns.
So would you consider just straight up slamming the Sorcerer's Apprentice off board, or do you think it matters that much at this point? I think I always respect Sorcerer's Apprentice. I always try to remove it if I can.
I mean, Sorcerer's Apprentice with Kabbalist Tome in hand is always going to be pretty juicy. Obviously, Cipher doesn't know that. But I agree with you. I think sometimes you just have to get rid of it because it can be too punishing.
Okay.
But Cipher clearly has a game plan here, and his game plan is winning the game.
His game plan is SMORC, as far as I can tell at this point. Flame Strike going to be drawn, though. And as we can see, still plenty of answers. This is a Grommash that may not be long for this world.
It's not long for this world.
I think Tomb first, yep.
Yeah, Kabbalist Tomb first is great. That's not a bad set of skills off the top of that either.
I mean, you don't vaporize and hope, I don't think.
Oh, goodness, no.
But Vaporize
Well,
could come in handy. It
he
could come
has-
in handy later.
He has been going face an awful lot.
I think even Polymorph Bore Arcane Blasts is fine, or Polymorph Bore and Arcane Missiles is great too.
You're still going to have your ping available to try and finish off if missiles don't kill it themselves.
And that's the kind of tempo swing that is going to be quite detrimental to Cipher. I mean, he used 8 mana last turn, and all he killed was a 0-2 taunt. And Mysterious has just replied with in a disgusting matter, to be honest.
In a disgusting matter. Oh, he's even going to freeze
Actually,
face.
yeah, I like this. Frostbolt onto face means that Fiery War Axe is basically just irrelevant this turn. And now Cipher, that Infested Tauren is actually a pretty nice draw this turn, just because it means he actually has things to do.
Yeah, it also would suggest it's an Enzoth Warrior.
You don't really want to Shield Slam, and I'm guessing he's thinking that he really would like to have like value out of Slam for card draw here.
I also want to say, a few people ask me, why don't we look at people's decks beforehand on a broadcast? And my response would be, if we knew all the players' decks and we maybe spoke about them during the pre-game, and a player might have the stream still on, then that's why we don't. We like to kind of work it out ourselves, and I think it adds something.
I think my personal opinion of not looking at deck lists beforehand, unless it is crucial to broadcast, I much prefer making decisions based on what I see in the game as it stands. If I were to say, oh, well, I know he's got N'Zoth in hand, I know all of his win conditions, it means that analysing the game state is difficult.
There is the Flamewaker. And also, if it was a format where players had seen all the deck lists, then that's different. I think I would look at them as well.
I think if all the players know the full deck list, then it's expected that the commentators should also know the full deck list. However, in this format where it is blind, you don't know what your opponent's going to be bringing. I think it's important that we kind of discover them as the players will discover.
Because we want to make decisions, but we want to highlight decisions that the players would be making based on the sort of information that the players have available to them as well. So,
well, speaking of discovery, we have discovered a Flamewaker in the hand of Mysterious, and this is going to be a very important turn in terms of the rest of the game, just because Flamewaker is such an influential card in this deck, and I would argue Flamewaker probably the most important card in this entire deck.
And he is going to opt not to play the Flamewaker this turn. He says you're not going to get enough value out of it.
I love this. The Validated Doomsayer comes out, and it's one of those cards that I don't think I've seen a deck actually run it, but if it comes out of a portal like that, it just begs another answer.
This is what I said to Gaskin last week.
Do you go howl on that?
I think you go howl it.
But then that's basically the entire turn as well.
But I mean, the way you're thinking about it is, I'm getting rid of a 7/7 but taking no damage.
If he Gore Howls and armors up, that's 24 health he has. Flamewaker plus double Fireball is 14, 16.
23?
Goodness, he's one off lethal.
Well, he can
Oh,
shield
he can
slam.
ping as
hero
well.
power.
He can ping as well. That's lethal. If he does Gore Howl and armor up, that is lethal for Mysterious.
Cipher can shield slam the 4-2.
Yeah, I think that's what he's going to have to do.
Yeah. Or the 3-2, depending how he wants to play this one. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Sorcerer's Apprentice taken out, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's very insightful from Cipher, because he would have died had he not made that play.
I think you still make that play now, though. I think you still Flamewaker double Fireball, because whilst there are no minions on the board for Cipher, and you can get that guaranteed 4 damage from the Flamewaker, it's going to be quite important, especially with the Firelands portal to follow up next turn.
Sure.
I'd be like, why not?
So you could also just Firelands Portal face and make that play next turn.
Yeah, I quite like this. It puts another minion on board as well, just continues to build up pressure that Cipher will have to somehow deal with. And also, if he does use Gore Howl to deal with this Kodo, you know, it's another little bit of damage taken, and it means he's one step closer to lethal.
If he does, in fact, I don't think there is any way he doesn't get lethal here. Because if you use Gore Howl, you're going to take damage regardless, right?
I think it depends what comes out of the Ironforge portal, perhaps.
Oh, true, yeah.
Exactly. There'll be another minion to block Flamewaker.
If he gets an infested Tauren or something like that, or something along the lines, that's true, yeah.
But also just that minion being there to block shots from the Tauren.
Sure. I'm just thinking about how much armor will he get from him? He'll get 16, so he'll be on either 16 or 17 HP, but that value is It's kind of almost irrelevant. You can do 12 damage direct to face. True. It's just the... I wasn't thinking about the minion for some reason. Oh, he's just going to have to brawl.
He's going to actually hit it with the Gohal as well. And finish things off with an Iron Forge portal. Gets himself a little bit of armor. 15 HP remaining. We can see that there is 12 in hand just from the fireballs alone. To be honest, I don't mind dropping the Mana Worm along with the Flame Waker and then just smack him in the face with the fireballs. You could even use a fireball on the 4-5 just to maintain that board control. Don't know whether I'd want to commit to that or whether you want to just push damage to face.
Oh, I think I like getting rid of the minion on board. I mean, you guarantee 4 damage to face anyway from the Flame Waker.
Yeah,
by doing so. If you opted to go for both fireballs, of course. You've then got threats that Cipher has to deal with. I guess Mysterious is possibly looking at this as a finisher. He's saying, Flamewaker plus double fireball is the way I win the game.
He would have 5 HP remaining next turn total, right? If that was the play.
I'm wondering whether Mysterious has anything else, like a final win condition in this deck, like Archmage or like
Yogg.
Ronin or something like that, or Yogg, yeah. Like, we haven't seen anything just yet, but it wouldn't surprise me at all that he would have something. The first fireball going face, yeah, makes you assume that the second one will follow suit as well. If both Flameway hits, this could be game. No, not quite.
So he took the chance of going for lethal there, which I guess is fine.
Yeah.
Well,
it's fair enough. And also, armor up, the only sustain available for Cipher right now.
He's going to have to execute one of these as well. It doesn't matter which one because he's going to trade his 4-2 in regardless. He survives the ping next turn, but any form of direct damage would be lethal for Mysterious.
We know there's quite a lot in this deck. There's still Forgotten Torches. I think one was used earlier, so a Roaring Torch will be available.
Another Frostbolt, I think, still there.
Yeah. Let's see. Cold Sorcerer, it's not quite it. Would you even use just Flame Strike here just to complete... Oh, no, you still got Vaporize, right? That's a Vaporize, the secret.
Yeah, you don't need to use Flame Strike at all.
You just ping and pass, yeah, with the Vaporize especially.
And you save Cult Sorcerer for the extra... Well, yeah, anything. The extra spell damage is just so
because
good
the longer it takes you to draw that, the more armor that this warrior is going to be getting. So I think, yeah, keeping the Cult Sorcerer for the spell damage could be extremely important.
Yeah. If you keep pinging face, Cipher is only gaining 1 armor per turn, so... Cipher, we know, probably runs shield blocks, so picking up one of those would be fantastic for him. At least Starseeker is not shield block.
It's not a Justicar either, which would have been very nice, but...
Do you have the artifact?
I think a Justicar would almost steal this game at that point. If he draws a Justicar without Mysterious having drawn Burn the turn before, it's, I think, just about a game. But Cipher is playing literally on a knife's edge at this point.
I think he's thinking about whether this Ravaging Ghoul is going to be more relevant on board or just soaking up that Vaporize, and he will soak it up there.
Well, also, I don't think he's... Or has he worked out that it's definitely Vaporize?
I don't think
he's actually hit face in that long.
I don't think he's hit face at all.
Could have been Ice Barrier.
Could have been Ice Barrier,
I kind of like just going 5 damage to face here. Yep. You're saying, right, I've got a Fire War Axe, let's race him. If he doesn't draw the spells...
He's not going to be using the Gohal to clear any minions. Oh, that is massive for Mysterious.
It's another 2 chances.
Let's see what he gets. There's the Archmage we were talking about earlier.
But you just
He's got plenty of activators. You surely have to just drop Archmage, right?
I think you just have to drop Archmage.
It's basically like, you have nothing in hand, answer this. Like, if not, you lose the game next turn.
Totally
100%.
agree. Just drop Archmage. Just honestly. He can't face tank it with the Fiery War Axe.
What to do?
He's already used Grom. Where is the extra... He's used 2 bashes. Where's the extra face damage
I mean, he's got N'Zoth, but literally only managed to get 1 Infested Torrent. So we know there's like a Cairn, Sylvanas, that kind of thing in there as well. Or you'd assume so. Acolyte of Pain, definitely not the answer he's looking for.
Not going to do it. No, Mysterious should seal this game out.
Yeah, Mysterious did require his assistance, it turns out. That will be Archmage Antonidas. His glorious beard comes into play. We'll be able to secure the win for Mysterious. So that's going to be 2-0 now. Cipher desperately in need of this game, and it might just be about to run away from him.
Well, Mysterious was 2-0 up again last week. Remember
Yeah,
this,
that is
against
true.
Ball Control. And then his Control Warrior came into it, and he lost 3 games on the trot. But
Didn't
this
bring his
week,
Control Warrior this
he
time.
hasn't brought Control Warrior, so...
Can't say I'm too surprised.
No. I mean, Control Warrior can be targeted. I think Ball Control showed that he clearly was targeting Control decks, as Mysterious does tend to lean towards those. But the last deck will be Druid for Mysterious, and to win 1 out of 3 with Druid, depending, even if it's Beast or Malygos, Token, you're going to be thinking this is good. You got good chances.
Druid has good, if you were to say, after Shaman, what is the second best deck to run in any situation, most people would come out back at you and say Malygos Druid. So, has good matchups against a lot of other decks. If you were to put your bets, and I feel like I've said this before in the ESL Premiership, and I have been burnt for it, but if you were to hedge your bets on picking a win out of the bag with a deck that isn't Shaman, I would be happy to run my luck with any form of, to be honest, current Druid.
Well, it looks like it might be a Token Druid with the power of the wild in hand. But this time Cipher managed to find 2 infested Taurens, but actually mulligans them both. I wouldn't have been too surprised to see him keep a singular infested Tauren to start things off, especially as a Control Warrior. But does have Justicar in his starting hand. That could be absolutely crucial in this series.
Absolutely.
It definitely could, because I was going to say if it was Malygos Druid, I mean, getting yourself out of range, but it doesn't look it as Malygos Druid, especially now with Sonaris. Like, I've seen Malygos Druid before running Power of the Wild, but with Sonaris as well, this is just pure Token in my opinion.
You could even be running on the Wisps of the Old God variant as well. This looks very similar to the sort of deck list that Jackie Chan was trying to run. I
don't know if there was any trying about it.
No, he runs it. No, okay.
He tried and tested.
Yeah, no, I mean, okay. It is the deck list that Jackie Chan got very, very popular for.
Yes.
And Cenarius was kind of the only time we've seen Druid have a resurgence in Cenarius in the last few months at all. So, Cipher loves using those emotes to try and psych his opponent out. But to be honest, if there is one player in the Premiership that I just don't think gives 2 flying hoots about emotes, it's probably Mysterious.
I've got to say, like, when you look at the playoffs, when you see the playoffs after movie, we've shown it on stream a few times, you see, like, Hello Leroy, Ball Control, both of them, and Cipher as well, like, looking super stressed on stage, like, running their hands through their hair and, like, super psyched when they win. And then there's clips of Mysterious. He's always just kind of sat there with that exact expression on, like,
yeah.
I wonder what to play this
I wouldn't want to play poker against the man. That's for sure.
Have you spoken to Mysterious after he's played a match that he's lost? Because he just goes, it's okay, I'll come back next time.
Yeah.
Like, he really, really is such a chilled out guy.
Certainly is. And let's have a look at what Cypher's going to be able to bring to the table. Already has 1 Fiery War Axe. That is going to mean he has a second one to refresh his hand should he want to. I think just deciding whether or not to hit face because he's got that second axe in hand.
So I think what's important for Mysterious is trying to build up a board to try and force out the brawl from Cipher, but not be using all those tokens straight away, so that he can continuously build that board at least 3 times. So that 3rd time there is no brawl.
Really like this from Mysterious here, getting the extra spell power to be able to clear away the Acolyte.
Yeah. If there is any deck that you're not too bothered about, sort of throwing down early threats, given how much you can build up huge board states, Token Druid into Control Warrior is one of those matchups where you have multiple win conditions that can play around what their warrior is bringing. So the only issue is if you do start seeing Death Rattle minions come out and you eventually get to a turn 10 and you haven't had the cards put together to build a board state, and Zoth can be kind of scary.
Well, he's certainly starting to look at some cards to build up a board state. Cenarius with 2 Power of the Wilds in hand as well. If he can get the tokens out, he can certainly back them up. Yet to find a Violet Teacher or anything like that just yet though, but just a card turn 6 is going to be great news for Cipher.
Yeah, with another Living Roots off top though, I mean...
Yeah, it still had Wrath in hand as well.
Exactly.
So there was always going to be an answer available for this one.
Wouldn't even mind just... If I was a greedier man, I would just throw down the Starfire thinking, how many other opportunities I'm just going to get a free card draw and just deal with a minion.
Yeah, I mean, you could Wrath for card draw and then Hero Power as
yeah,
well.
no, totally agree.
Do prefer that. Obviously, he takes 6 damage to face, but realistically, against Control Warrior, face damage isn't something that's a major concern until, very late on in the game.
So Mysterious is going to hedge his bets nice and early. He's going to start to build a board now, try and encourage one of those brawls. whilst he still has means of building up a board again later on. But what's important as well is these Arcane Giants in his hand.
Yeah.
Those are the two big threats that Cipher's going to be saving his execute for.
One of the things about this play as well is you've done this on turn 6, and you're basically saying, I've got scenarios in hand. If the stars align, if I pull out an Innovate next turn, this board becomes terrifying if it's not dealt with.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think this is a board state you'd want to brawl as Cipher. I probably kind of would be tempted to a year like this, you could just hit in Bash and play your Infested Torrent. I also would have been potentially invested in a shield block and slam and then just take out one of the 2/2s, all of which are fine, but taking up the spell power off board is probably more sensible.
Now, an interesting turn for Mysterious. You could consider dropping a Wild Growth here, just because you can still play an Arcane Giant this turn, but also it sets you up for a Scenarius the following turn. Still has the mana... No, it doesn't have the mana to do that anymore after the Hero Power, so not the play he's going to be going for. Could still drop an Arcane Giant, though.
I think that's sensible. Just slam an Arcane Giant.
Now, let's see what Cipher is going to do about this one. Gore Howl in hand, but doesn't quite deal with the situation. Doesn't find the Shield Slam, unfortunately. That would have been beautiful if you managed to pull that off the top.
Just playing another Infested Tauren, though, you kind of say, unless you've got a way to burn through the taunt, then you're not getting 8 damage to face. This turn. Could use his Starfire now. Specifically just to throw 8 damage to face and get rid of all of that armor. I think that's something that I would be considering.
Yep. I'm well up for that.
I'm well up for that,
I am
Dan's
well
down.
up for it. I mean, maybe even do you Power of the Wild and just throw a Panther on the board as well, but I suppose, and then that's counteracted by the 2/2 of the Slime, so maybe just a Hero Power. Seems nice.
It just means that if Shield Slam did come out, your 8/8 remains relatively safe.
And Cipher on 15 HP, he's not feeling too great about this situation. And then Forge Portal, it's a pretty nice find. You could even Gore Howl, just to try and deal with this. You trade your minion in as well, but you put yourself to dangerously low HP.
You do indeed, my friend Munchables. You do indeed.
This is looking grim.
The plays I could consider is a 50-50 brawl. I could consider a Ironforge Portal and tank up, or I could consider a Gore Howl into tank up as well. Now remember, if Cipher loses here, I don't think there is a way he qualifies. Or there is, but it's a little bit more difficult for him.
It is more difficult, but there is a way.
He's
I
going
wouldn't
to go
count him
for
up
it.
just yet. Oh, he's going to take the 8.
He's going to take the 8, my friends. But with tank up, I suppose you do feel a little bit more safe taking things like 8 damage to face. He's not picked up any of his removal yet, though, so that's something he will be worried about.
One thing that's great right now for Cipher is Mysterious is yet to find a Violet Teacher, or any of these cards that really builds up the board for himself. Obviously he has Scenarios, but you kind of want to use that for the buff rather than the tricks.
I mean, the thing is, yeah, he's not built up a board, but he's still managed to get Cipher down to such low HP that these big minions are now just so threatening to Cipher. I mean, no execute, unless he draws an execute here.
Shield block.
Shield block into Shield Slam would be nice.
He's just going to go straight for Zoth to just bring out the 2/3/3s.
Oh, but with Swipe,
That's...
so Wrath... Oh no, he can't quite get there.
No,
Or can he? Wait.
He's got Mulch. Yeah,
he could Wrath, Mulch, Swipe, and Power of the Wild.
No, he doesn't. Does he even need to... Yeah,
Wrath, Mulch, get rid of the 2 taunts, Swipe face, Power of the Wild, 6.
is that enough mana?
I'm just counting for 6.
No, you can't Power of the World as well.
No, he's not. He's 2 off.
He's 2 off.
You could Wild Growth to start off this turn.
But you could do that and slam an Arcane Giant. So you're pushing him to very, very low HP values. And then you maybe top deck another Swipe or something. Or anyway, I personally like playing a little bit more conservatively in this situation. But, you know, I also wouldn't mind just going, hey, maybe I win the game.
I mean, if Justicar wasn't a thing, and if he was only getting 2 armor, then maybe you could go with the aggressive approach.
I think clearing these off board and then playing Arcane Giant, if you've played Swipe as well, seems fine. You might be thinking this about this multiplayer though.
I wouldn't mind mulching the N'Zoth, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary on board. just removes any kind of option to just take away this Ancient of War easily. Still keeps the damage in hand as well with that swipe.
Ailamal Direwolf Alpha.
Did he get the Archon Giant on board? Or did he miss it?
This is the thing about Spectator Climb, is it queues everything up and then you just wait and see what happens. But does get the Archon Giant.
He didn't get
use the
excess
mana.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter because the result is the same. Ooh, well, this is interesting because he's got Brawl, which actually at this point you take a 50-50 to just clear two massive threats.
Brawl seems pretty good in this situation.
If you're really worried and you really don't like your odds, you can even play Direwolf first and then Brawl just to try and increase your odds, but he's going to draw first, which, as many professionals would tell you, is usually the best thing to do.
The big issue with brawling, and I'm not talking about the magazine, is you don't immediately deal with his minion if he wins the brawl. Obviously, you've got a revenge in hand, so there is an answer, but you really want to try and save that revenge for tokens if you can. But he wins out the brawl.
It was the best chance Brawl I think he's going to get.
Yeah.
You know, you get a 50% chance to just get something on board that is yours.
So now, something like a Wisp of the Old God from Raven Idol would be nice for Mysterious, but Brawl obviously deals with it, Revenge deals with it.
I think this is a turnaround point for Cipher, personally.
Yeah,
he's lost both Arcane Giants. He throws down the well played already. I mean, I think I remember Cipher giving an interview, and he said, I use emotes to annoy people. I use them to make decisions, force them to make decisions.
It throws them off.
It throws them off. And
he used to say that as soon as that rope hits, he would throw some emotes because you've got that little amount of time to decide, and your mind will get slightly distracted by someone emoting for sure. I mean, the typical player. I mean, there are players that will just completely ignore it, but a lot of people will be affected by that.
So, Revenge into Gorehowl clears entire board here, and you could even then armor up and play Ken. That seems pretty nice to me.
That it does, and he's just slowly putting himself out of reach thanks to Justicar.
Goodness gracious, this was a close game for Cipher.
And you know what we said on turn 6? That Justicar could be something that really affects the game. It absolutely has. That 4 armor per turn just so powerful. With a Ken on board, there's actually not a lot that Mysterious can do to contest this at this point.
It really depends what other finishes Mysterious is running with. Is he running Wisps of the Old God? Has he got Yogg-Saron in there? These kind of things could potentially turn things around for him.
Violet Teacher, to be honest, he needed this about 5 turns ago, but it's certainly going to be a welcome find right now. Can play that and can get this board fairly big with a Raven Idol. He's got Wild Growth as well as the Power of the Wild.
And he's seen one Brawl, so there is always the chance that the second Brawl isn't going to be in hand as well.
But even if the second Brawl is in hand, like you're not expecting your teacher to win, but you're expecting at this point that you will at least win the Brawl.
But with Ken on board, it doesn't feel nice. Because there's always going to be a 4-5 that pops out, even if, you know, Cipher loses the Brawl, you still get a 4-5 on board. He has lost in Zoth right now, though, so that is something to bear in mind.
That is a scary board that absolutely demands a Brawl. I've never seen that Spectator book at the bottom before, where the Wild Growth didn't fully vanish, but either way, I believe it's hiding a Druid of the Claw for anyone
It is a Druid
that's
of the
not
Claw,
sure.
Yeah, it looks like
I mean, typically Druid does bug here and there in Spectator.
Do you know what I really like about the play that Cipher just made here? It means that he's always got the bash to follow up whatever happens.
Well, it is going to be a 2-2. Unsurprisingly, the wins out the Brawl. But Bane Bloodhoof survives. He continues on.
So, for anyone that was kind of wondering why the hit was made first into Violet Teacher, just means that it just means that he could either bash or use Gorehowl to take out whatever is left.
League Ops valiantly trying to fix the Spectator bug there with the mouse. Unfortunately, this is
great 4-drop.
This is not one of the ones that's gonna be that easy. But Innovate comes out. That is probably the best 4-drop you can get out of Ironforge Ball.
That's probably the best 4-drop you can get for sure.
Druid of the Claw going to be dropped as well.
We still haven't seen any executes or any shield slams yet.
I've got to say, pretty fortunate to get the Druid of the Claw out of a Ironforge Ball? What am I talking about? Out of a Raven Idol? Like, with all the minions you can potentially get, having a Druid of the Claw is pretty solid.
Yeah, minions out of Raven Idol are usually pretty terrible. But I think you're right, we haven't seen the innovates, we haven't seen the shield slams kind of thing. It's quite ugly for Mysterious. I mean, this is the thing, if he's got something like a Yogman, perhaps that could change the game.
Doesn't it look like Cipher's giving him many turns to think about it, though?
No. I think that's a fair statement. Well, we do have Fandral Nourish with Innovate for a second Nourish if he so wishes. But I don't know if he's going to be able to find himself an answer at this point in the game. Ragnaros is going to be there, at least.
I think you have to innovate Swipe. You may want to innovate Nourish again, but... I mean, Cipher's basically threatening almost lethal.
Yeah, I think realistically you have to deal with the impending doom, that is on board. But Grommash Hellscream, certainly going to be a welcome find for Cipher. He doesn't have a direct way to activate it, except for hitting Fandral.
Yeah, he can, with the Direwolf Alpha, get a clearer Fandral and activate his Grom, which seems pretty good to me. And can still thread in a tank up too, so... Actually, Direwolf Alpha coming off mulch, not proving too awful here for Cipher.
Direwolf Alpha making it pretty dire for Mysterious, and I think this is just a formality now.
Never say that with Yogg-Saron existing.
But, I mean, not many people do run Yogg now. I mean, there are some that do, but I don't think Mysterious is one of them.
So you rag and hope you hit Grommash, I think, and also take out the 2-1s. That gives you a 33% chance.
Pray for Grom. Hashtags in chat, please. There we go. Mysterious looking for the 3-0, but it's escaping him. Does hit Bane, and that is going to mean Cipher now grabs one for himself. Mysterious still 2-1 up in the series, but Cipher, after, to be honest, an incredibly close game. I didn't think Cipher was going to be able to make it back into that one, but I think one of the crucial things was just the fact that Cipher had that double roll early on in the game.
Yeah, and winning that brawl was important as well. I mean, I think if one of those minions had won on the side of Mysterious, that could have been a very different outcome.
Game over.
Yep.
I actually think that brawl was, again, it's one of these situations where brawl has probably decided the game for us. Arcane Giant surviving was the worst. He could have probably dealt with the Ancient of War, and it may have still been able to clinch back, but if Arcane Giant survived, he didn't see an execute until 2 or 3 turns after that, and he hadn't seen any shield slams or the other execute at all, so Cipher managing to come out against the Druid despite having literally 0 spot removal and relying on those brawls to pull him through. So
he's got Hunter and Druid left. We saw what Mysterious's Hunter did to Cipher's Druid, so do you naturally queue that up and then say, right, I'll take the mirror match at the end? I mean, Hunter can do very well against Druid.
Yeah, but again, it's one of these things in Conquest where it doesn't matter.
No, I mean, well, the thing is, I mean, if...
I was going to say, we could
if
be
there are
looking at score difference at this
True,
point.
yeah,
It
no, you're right,
absolutely
yeah.
does matter.
Yeah, true. You're very true, actually, where actually we're running a league where score difference comes into play somewhere down the line.
It's very far down the
It's
line,
very far down the line.
But I think it could, yeah, it could
I mean,
quite
if he's not thinking about that, then you queue whatever one you feel more comfortable just playing, I guess. There's this weird fallacy of momentum and, sometimes you just feel like the luck is with you and that can come through from winning multiple games in a row. I would have taken the Hunter, and it looks what Cipher has done, just because I think if I win here, then I'm like, oh, maybe the luck is on my side, and I just end up top-decking Wild Growth turn 1 from the Druid mirror matchup, which is always fantastic.
Well, it is going to be that standard Secret Hunter up against the Token Druid that we've already seen out of Mysterious. Mysterious with a very nice start there here. Wild Growth available.
I mean, I'd be half tempted to innovate stack.
Yeah. Really?
I'd be tempted to. I mean, Secret Hunter naturally just it just gets out of range because it has so much early pressure on you. Why not slam something on the board that they famously cannot deal with? I mean, what have they got they can deal with it?
Unless he's got a deadly shot in his starting hand, but you don't often see that card in this deck, so certainly going to be difficult. Catrick going to be dropped, buffs up his Secret Keeper slightly, but not sure Catrick will be enough here.
It means he can't use Living Roots to deal with the Secret Keeper, but he does get 4 damage and a free card draw out of the Wrath, so I mean, this is a pretty good start for Mysterious. Definitely a better hand than Cipher had in the Druid Mirror matchup.
Feels blooming well great, man. I believe.
Feels pretty great, man.
I mean, it means that Cipher can now deal with this fan draw, but it means that he's just having a naked board again. And
Yeah.
I think what's key for the Druid is just keeping this board as clean as possible for as long as possible and just trying to ramp up.
It's just that it's the same concept as when people used to run face hunter all the time. It was just that if you're in a situation with that deck that you are the one answering your opponent's threats, then you pretty much just lose the game on the spot. And it feels very similar with this version of the Hunter deck.
So Raven Idol first, and then probably a Wild Growth to follow it up, depending on what spell you get. I mean, we saw him pick a minion before, but I think naturally you would probably take a spell. Because the
I
more
think
removal, the
the
better.
reason he picked minion last time was just because he needed threats, basically, more than anything else at the time. But actually going to go with the Living Roots here. Just wants to keep the pressure on board, wants to keep things going in his favour. Another Secret Keeper comes out. Could potentially go Secret Keeper Snipe here. Don't mind Animal Companion, but if you get Huffer, it will get answered immediately.
Absolutely. We know, though, however, Mysterious has yet more answers here. And you won't even feel too bad about proccing the cat trick, and you can also test for it with the Raven Idol, because you know that you've got stuff on board here that
Another swipe?
This is actually such a difficult pick, though. Because obviously Swipe is a great card, but Wisps of the Old Gods and Power of the Wild, when you're running Token Druid, both seem fantastic.
So, my theory for Power of the Wild is if this is Explosive Trap and I go face, and after using Wrath and I've just wasted a card, Swipe is always useful, and Whisper of the Old God means that I'm kind of maybe playing away from having Ancient of War. I like Power of the Wild, but you are playing into the fact that it's not Explosive Trap. Because if this is Explosive Trap, which he's testing for now, yeah, there we go. He'll probably feel pretty comfortable playing Power of the Wild now.
It's down to whether he actually wants to blow that Power of the Wild right now. Just because, I guess he is going to go for it. Just, I guess you know at this point that it's going to be cat tricks, so basically means.
Oh wow!
Oh, interesting. She goes with a 3/2.
It's more flat damage based on what you have on board, I suppose, and you know that it's not.
Yeah, I realise I just said it was cat trick. It's not. It's snipe, but.
Not the most difficult of plays for Cipher here. I think there is just one.
Yeah.
Kill command face, of course.
That is the Hunter way. The problem is by putting this 3/2 on board, it's kind of tempting Cipher to end up using his Eaglehorn bow to clear now, which essentially is well, it's unfortunate because you wanted to get the maximum use out of that snipe and try and get another proc on your Eaglehorn. So it was a clever play from Mysterious, because had he used the Power of the Wild to give +1/+1 to his 2/2s, then Cipher might not have felt compelled to want to have to use that. Particular Eaglehorn bow charge. Double the swipe means that it's a pretty obvious swipe onto Leok, and this little saplings that could really doing some serious damage over here to Cipher.
And I mean, we said at the start, those 2/1/1s can just do so much if you can get them out early. Savannah Highmane, actually paired with Snipe, completely answers this Ancient of War.
But I mean, you're still kind of knocking down the health of Cipher. You're slowly getting rid of it, and I mean, especially with Swipe as well. Next turn, Violet Teacher into Swipe. That feels quite nice.
Well, we have just been informed that in true Premiership fashion, a patch has just dropped midway through the series. So, if any of the players are currently not online already for the rest of the day, then we may have a little bit of a delay between the series. We'll have to wait and see.
New patch, that
depending
means
on
that
internet times and such like.
we replay the games from earlier, replay Osher's game, right? Give Osher another chance? No? Okay. Sorry, man.
What is
Yeah, we do, but they have to do it in the Legendary Arena format.
Yeah.
Or whatever it's called. Heroic Arena.
So now with... If only he had one more mana.
I know, right?
But he doesn't.
Never
What was that voice, buddy?
rage.
You probably trade. You can trade one of these 1/1s into the 2/2, or even. Wow, okay, you even go face. He's just going to save swipe. He's going to save it for the Azure Drake. I actually prefer this.
Yeah. Hit him in the base.
This kill command's going to come in super useful, though.
And you get that situation where Cipher's like, I kind of have to trade with kind of grandmother, right? I need to activate that for myself. But
I would actually think about keeping it unactivated, but he's not.
I don't know, with 1/1s on the board, it just feels like such a great trade. But he doesn't know as well that Azure Drake's in hand right now.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that there's that immediate answer.
It's potentially game winning.
Potentially,
What's
or
that? Is that secret? I think is
Cat
gone?
Trick.
Oh, did he play Cat Trick as well? I was
It's
thinking that
Cat
was still
Trick,
the
yeah.
snipe. My bad. Oh, here we go. Azure Drake, as well as a swipe. Cipher not going to be overly happy about that one. 5 damage straight up. Does get a Cat Trick off of it, but basically has to just trade that immediately into the Drake.
He does indeed. Picks up a tracking. This could be really useful because he needs something now.
Savannah Jaime, basically, I think.
Yeah.
Call of the Wild would be pretty great.
Barnes and Bear Trap seem also pretty good.
Quick shot obviously draws.
Yes.
So we've basically just listed every card in this deck. So there's a lot of good options for tracking right now.
Well, okay, he's going to take quick shot because he wants to get the damage
I
to
guess
face.
you've got to try and race him now as well.
Also, you get another opportunity at the draw, right?
Kill
Oh,
command.
Kill Command is great.
The race is on.
The race is on, boys.
He's going to be able to kill the Azure Drake. Means he doesn't have to trade his Cat Trick. And actually, what was looking like almost a sealed deal for Mysterious might just be turning itself on its head again. This is the second time we're seeing this in this series.
He's used both Living Roots, has he? He's used both Wrath, he's used both Swipes. Has he lost all spot removal?
Use 3 swipes.
He's used 3 swipes.
He can get a Druid of the Claw still.
True.
Ah.
Oh no, he's not used both
There's
Living
the
Roots.
Living
There's the
Roots.
Living Roots. Living Roots into Arcane Giant, and then, well...
But, like, look at the... There's still 5 damage in hand for Cipher. Well, the bow and the hero power.
Yeah, but he's used 2 kill commands and...
Just the 1 quick shot, though, I
He's 1
believe.
quick shot, so he's kind of relying on just getting quick shot.
Quick shot would be nice.
Oh, and do you know what's interesting? He didn't play Power of the Wild because Unleash the Hounds off the top. He was thinking about playing a 3-2, but Unleash the Hounds would have been...
Don't jinx it.
Oh no, it's not now
It's
because
not.
he's not now
He's
because
used
he's
his hero
hero power.
power.
Yeah.
Snipe is
Snipe.
not going to do it.
It's not enough. Oh well. Arcane Giant is going to be the decider here. That is going to mean that Mysterious takes away this series 3-1 in the end. Cipher just a little bit further away from playoffs, but Mysterious, I believe, has just qualified himself.
He
Well,
pretty much.
assuming one of the 2 3s from the start